As the United States House of Representatives vote on a bipartisan bill that would force the release of the entirety of the Epstein files, thereby setting it up for the United States Senate to take a similar vote, and then ultimately for convicted felon Donald Trump to do the right thing. What's the breaking news that we're hearing concerning Andrew Tate? You know, the self-described manosphere influencer who has taken a lot of pride in talking about his, ability to be able to treat women in a certain way. Well, we're finding out, according to ProPublica, one of my favorite publications, that the Trump White House actively intervened on behalf of the Tate brothers, and specifically Andrew Tate, during a federal investigation. Now, listen, folks, that's pretty on brand, isn't it? I mean, this idea that if somebody is, looking at exposure for sex trafficking, hell, the Trump administration will be the first to come to your rescue. So here's what the allegations are. Andrew Tate apparently arrived with his brother via private plane in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, of course. And when they did, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials seized their electronic devices. But then here's where the Trump administration intervened. According to interviews and records that were reviewed by ProPublica, a White House official by the name of Paul Ingrassia, and we're going to get into his lack of bona fides in a second, Paul Ingrassia told senior Department of Homeland Security officials to return those electronic devices to the Tate brothers several days after they were seized. Ingrassia previously represented the Tate brothers before Ingrassia joined the White House, where at the time he was working as the White House liaison to the Department of Homeland Security. In a written request by Ingrassia that ProPublica was able to view a copy of, Ingrassia, quote, chided authorities for taking the action, that being seizing the electronic devices, saying that the seizure of the Tate brothers' devices was not a good use of time or resources. The request to return the electronic devices to the Tate brothers, according to Ingrassia, was coming from the White House. Now, again, on brand to have felon Trump intervene to help sex traffickers. But this Ingrassia guy is definitely worth a little bit of a deeper dive. But let's just take a second and stay on the Tate brothers, because they're a particularly disgusting pair of, I'd say they're human beings, but I think they're lower than that. So apparently, Paul Ingrassia's intervention caused a lot of red flags to go off amongst DHS officials, because they had a concern that they were interfering in a federal investigation if they followed through with the instruction of returning those electronic devices to the brothers. One official who spoke on the condition of anonymity said that they were disgusted by Ingrassia's requests because of its brazenness and the high-handed expectation of complicity. Now, whether there is a pending federal investigation is unconfirmed. There is some litigation that's going on wherein the Tate brothers are involved, and there is some suggestion that perhaps there is a SDNY investigation, but again, nothing has been confirmed. Law enforcement experts like John Tobin, a retired assistant director for Homeland Security investigations, said, quote, I have never heard of anything like that in my 30 years working. For anyone to say this request is from the White House, it feels like an intimidation tactic. The Tate brothers, their lawyer, this guy named Joe McBride, said he doesn't know what happened to the electronic devices, but according to McBride, the Tate brothers still have not had them returned. So what's Ingrassia's connection? I just said that he used to represent the Tate brothers as their lawyer. Well, it's because Ingrassia used to work at this guy, Joseph McBride's law firm, before Ingrassia joined the White House. And of course, the White House has declined comment to ProPublica about what's going on. And in a brief statement to ProPublica, this is what Ingrassia said. He denied that he tried to help the Tate brothers, and he claims that there was no intervention, nothing happened, there was nothing. CBP did confirm that it conducted a 100% search and examination of the Tate brothers' baggage and detained all of their electronic media devices when they entered the United States. According to CBP, electronic media devices were detained and turned over to HSI for inspection purposes. Ingrassia, having worked for the Tate brothers, has praised Andrew Tate's, quote, physical prowess, as well as Tate's willpower and spirit, calling him the embodiment of the ancient ideal of excellence. But what is it about the Tate brothers that Paul Ingrassia finds to be so, I don't know, inspiring? Well, here we go. Although no criminal charges have been filed against the Tate brothers in the United States, they are no strangers to criminal charges internationally. In Romania, the Tate brothers have been accused in 2023 of operating a criminal group that trafficked women. Trafficking of victims? Does that sound familiar? Trafficking women, including some who allege that the Tate brothers led them to believe they were interested in relationships but instead forced them into filming online pornography. Romanian prosecutors also said they're investigating allegations that the Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan trafficked minors. Again, does that sound familiar? The White House intervening for people that have been alleged of trafficking in children? Andrew Tate was also charged with rape in Romania. The Tate brothers have denied all allegations. The initial charges were sent back to prosecutors by a court because of some procedural issues. Now let's fast forward to another country, Britain. Authorities in Britain have filed charges against the Tate brothers, including rape and human trafficking, based on allegations from 3 women. In 2024, arrest warrants were issued for the Tate brothers. They have denied all wrongdoing, and at this time they are not being extradited to Britain until the charges in Romania have been resolved. Now, this year in 2025, Andrew Tate had the audacity to compare himself to Donald Trump on X, the cesspool social media platform. This is what he posted. Quote, Romania? No case UK? No case USA? No case. Lawfare? I'm one of the most mistreated men in history beside President Trump himself.
So if you're like me, your skin needs a little extra care this time of the year. I mean, between the colder weather and the rush of the holidays, it's easy for your skin to feel dry, dull, or stressed. So that's why I've been sticking with OneSkin. You know how much I love my OS1 face topical supplement. It's been amazing to add it to my daily routine to continue to deliver powerful skincare and longevity benefits that I cannot live without during this busy holiday season. Because, at the core is their patented OS1 peptide, the first ingredient that's proven to target senescent cells. Those are the root cause of wrinkles, that crepiness maybe here, and the loss of elasticity, all of key signs of skin aging. And these results have now been validated in 5 different clinical studies. And what I really love is at the helm of this iconic skincare brand is their founding all-woman team of longevity scientists. They've got PhDs in stem cell biology, skin regeneration, and tissue engineering. And amazing at this time of the year, OneSkin has also just launched limited edition holiday sets, including nightly rewind gift sets, which adds the perfect touch of luxury to your gift list. It's the ultimate upgrade to any nightly ritual, featuring their best-selling face moisturizer, the one I use, their brand new peptide lip mask, and a sculpting gua sha tool. Each element is designed to work together as your body enters its natural nightly repair mode, helping renew skin at the cellular level for a stronger, smoother, and more youthful looking complexion. So for a limited time only, try OneSkin for 15% off using the following code, Phang, that's my last name, at oneskin.co/Phang, that's Phang. Now it's oneskin.co/Phang, Phang. Now, after you make this purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. So please support the Katie Phang News channel and tell them that I sent you to them. Look, I cannot begin to underscore how wonderful my experience has been with OneSkin. I personally think that it's the type of product. I mean, it doesn't leave my skin greasy. It doesn't make me feel weird like layering it with my other products. It actually works impeccably well. I know you will not be disappointed. You really need to go to oneskin.co/Phang, Phang, for your limited time only, 15% off, especially this time of the year. I'm going to get it for my mom. I'm also going to get it for a lot of my friends.
In February of 2025, Romania's foreign minister said that Richard Grenell, another stellar fucking human being, told him at an international security conference in Germany that he, as in Grenell, remained interested in the fate of the Tate brothers. Andrew Tate has said, for the record, quote, "I'm not a rapist, but I like the idea of being able to do what I want." End quote. Pretty disgusting. But again, on brand. But let's talk about Paul Ingrassia a little bit more and why Donald Trump having somebody like that in a position at the time of being the White House liaison to DHS, and now he is the Deputy General Counsel at GSA, General Services Administration. Why? Because just last month in October, Ingrassia had to withdraw his nomination to be the head of the Office of Special Counsel. Trump wanted him to have that gig. But then the news came out that Ingrassia is a white extremist, white nationalist, racist, anti-Semite, according to reports. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. Now, here's the deal. Trump had nominated Ingrassia to lead the Office of Special Counsel. How old is Ingrassia, you may ask? 30 years old. But here's the deal. As I said, he had to withdraw his Senate nomination. Why? Because the Senate made it pretty clear through the Senate Republicans that they were not going to confirm him for the job. Politico and CNN actually published reports that Ingrassia had sent a string of racist text messages to fellow Republicans, and he described himself as having a, quote, Nazi streak. Now, what kind of text messages? I'm going to share them with you because I think it's worth you knowing the quality of the people that Donald Trump wants to be leading our country. So just an example of the type of text messages that Paul Ingrassia sent, check these out. He said, quote, "MLK Jr. was the 1960s George Floyd, and his, quote, holiday should be ended and tossed into the seventh circle of hell where it belongs." That's in January of 2024. So don't tell me they're just kids when they send these things. Using an Italian slur for black people, Paul Ingrassia wrote a month earlier in a group chat to Republicans, "No Mulignon holidays. From Kwanzaa to MLK Jr. Day to Black History Month to Juneteenth, every single one needs to be eviscerated." Now, Politico covered this news because they were able to look and interview with people who were a part of this Republican chat. So, according to Ingrassia's lawyer, he questioned the authenticity but said, but look, even if they are real and authentic, they're clearly just self-deprecating and satirical humor making fun of liberals. Okay, here's another one. Somebody in the group chat said that Paul, as in Ingrassia, belongs in the Hitler Youth with Obergruppenführer Steve Bannon. To which Paul Ingrassia says, quote, "I do have a Nazi streak in me from time to time. I will admit it." Here's another statement that was made. "Never trust a Chinaman or Indian. Never," in all caps. Here's another thing Ingrassia texted. "Blacks behave that way," as in Democrats making black people into victims, "because that's their natural state. You can't change them. Proof, all of Africa is a shithole and will always be that way." So Donald Trump only wants the very best for Americans, right? Let's talk about Ingrassia's experience. He graduated from Cornell Law School in 2022, became a registered attorney less than a year ago in July of 2024. He only caught the eye of Donald Trump because he did pro-Trump blog posts during the 2024 presidential campaign. And then he joined the administration in January of 2025, courtesy of his ass kissing of felon Trump. Until recently, Ingrassia's Instagram account featured a pinned photo of him posing with Andrew Tate. In June of 2024, Ingrassia appeared at an impromptu rally for who? Holocaust denier and white nationalist Nick Fuentes. Ingrassia has attended events supporting the insurrectionists that stormed our U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Also, Ingrassia wrote a Substack post calling for X to restore the X account of Nick Fuentes. Ingrassia claims that he inadvertently and accidentally attended that rally on behalf of Nick Fuentes. But then shortly after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, this is what Ingrassia posted, quote, "I think we could all admit at this stage that Israel/Palestine, much like Ukraine before it, and BLM before that, and COVID/vaccine before that, was yet another psyop." That is the quality of people that Donald Trump has in this administration. Now, remember, I said, Ingrassia at the time that the White House intervened on behalf of the Tate Brothers and their electronic devices, Ingrassia was working as the White House liaison to DHS. He had been put into that job after he had been forced out of the job of White House liaison for the Justice Department. And then Trump wanted him to head up the Office of Special Counsel, but Senate Republicans said, hell to the no. John Thune and Rick Scott said, it ain't going to happen. So that's when Ingrassia withdrew his nomination, and now he's the freaking Deputy General Counsel of the General Services Administration. People, I am going to tell you that this administration is the worst thing to happen to the United States of America in centuries. Because it's bad enough that felon Trump is at the helm, but then to add insult to injury, you have dumbasses like Lindsay Halligan and Alina Habba and Todd Blanche and Pamela Joe and Kash Patel, and I could go on, J.D. Vance. But then you also have somebody like Paul Ingrassia, who maybe you wouldn't really know about before the fact that he has racist, white nationalist, Nazi texts that surface because he ends up being nominated and appointed to positions of authority over, I don't know, millions of Americans. People, this is when I say be mad, be outraged, and demand accountability, because this type of shit shouldn't stand. And learning that the White House intervened on behalf of alleged sex traffickers, rapists, and just all around bad fucking guys. I know it's on brand, like I've said, but it really should be upsetting, even if you aren't a Democrat. If you're a subscriber, thanks. If you're not, please subscribe. I've been making this pitch. It's a call to action. Please share this video, get people to join and subscribe to the Katie Phang News channel. Your support is invaluable. It makes me know that we are part of this battle together, and I will go rattle some more cages and see you on the other side.
Katie Phang here. We launched the Katie Phang News channel in partnership with the Midas Touch Network so we could bring you the latest in legal and political news. Straight, no chaser. So if you're a fellow truth teller, hit that subscribe button and share the word about this channel so we can build a high information America together.